Recording in progress.
Hello, and welcome back to the Lust Podcast Show with the show that is rated R for real and not PG for playing games. I am one of your hosts, the Boss Lady.
And I'm the D.O.C.
All right, join us for our weekly conversations about life, culture, and everything else. Get to know us, get to love us. This episode is sponsored by Cigar Junkies, as well as CJS Educational Services. Once again, go out and get that Cigar Junkie merch at cigarjunkies.com. But before we jump into our episode, how are you, sir?
Pretty good, man. It's been we had a nice little layoff. You know what I'm saying? Had to take care of some business, make a couple good moves. Got some major announcements coming up. So other than that, that's it. I feel great, man. How about yourself?
I'm glad we're back here. That's all I can say is glad
everything
I'm back
is great,
here.
man. Everything is great.
Yes. So we are really excited about this show today because we actually have a guest. So today's show is really talking about writing, life, and love. And we're going to be doing that with author Jennifer Ollie. And before we bring her back into the platform, just want to pause for a second and just give a shout out for her coming on the show and things of that nature. So without further ado, we're going to let Miss Jennifer into the podcast show.
All right.
So
So we got Miss Jennifer Ollie on the phone. All right. Yes, I'm so happy. Me and her go way back for a while, so this is a blessing, to see how things come full circle. She's doing big things. We trying to do big things, and she's blessed us with being a guest on our show today. So before we get into all of that, I want to make sure that we always make sure we give the background and give information on our guest today. So I want to give you guys a little information on Miss Jennifer Ollie. So Chicago native. What part of Chicago are you from? I always wonder. South Side, but what hood? Everybody claim a hood in Chicago.
I'm borderline Chicago, so I just say Calumet Park. So I'm on the border of Chicago.
Okay.
122nd.
Okay. So is a Chicago native, received her Bachelor of Arts in Journalism from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, my alma mater for grad school, where I met my wife at as well. So U of I has a special place in our heart.
Yeah.
Additionally, she holds a master's in clinical and mental health counseling, along with being a licensed professional counselor. She also holds a certificate in applied project management for Northwestern University, also my alma mater. So that's a lot of big things going on there. All right. Professionally, Jennifer serves as Senior Director of Student Access and Career Planning and adjunct professor at Illinois Tech. She is intentional about providing college access along with effective retention strategies for students from underrepresented neighborhoods. In her spare time, Jennifer enjoys the thrill of using writing as an expression to promote creativity. And so we're here today to discuss her book, Thoughts, which is a collection of pieces about love, dreams, and romance. Jennifer sheds light to some of the highs and lows of love as well. So without further ado, I want to introduce Miss Jennifer.
Yay!
All right.
And how are you this evening?
Fine. I'm so happy to be doing this with you guys. I love this. I love that you all are putting this on. As Jimmy said, we go way back. So this is, I feel real comfortable being here.
Good.
Being able to talk to you guys. So I'm so excited. Thank you.
All right. Now, we keep it rated R for real and not PG for playing games.
Right.
So we get into it. All right.
So the way our show goes is we serve up a 3-course meal. Of course, we kind of start with our appetizer, which is sometimes a hot topic. But for today, I have a kind of special appetizer for you. I kind of want to just jump into things. And so, Love Jones, a movie that was made in 1997. It was a lot of poetry, a lot of spoken word in that movie. Just get right into it. Do you think a lot of the poetry and spoken word was just straight bullshit?
Miss Darius, I thought his poetry was bullshit.
And the reason why I asked this question is because there were some people who were critiquing the movie around us. And they just flat out was like, man, that poetry was bullshit. That wasn't real poetry. And I was like, yeah, it was. So
it was.
Okay.
I love that. That's my favorite movie. We're just gonna start there.
Okay.
And I thought that the chemistry on screen between Lorenz Tate and Nia Long was just epic. I felt like whoever wrote it, they just brought the lines to perfection. I thought it was real poetry. I mean, for what we know poetry to have grown into, that was like, I think our mainstream introduction to what poetry has evolved was at the time. I mean, it's not, we didn't have social media, we didn't have all these different outlets to highlight different forms of poetry. I mean, you had the telephone book, you had the telephone, you had to go to the movies, you had to talk to people. So exactly. I love Jones as a classic just for that.
And that with the scenes where he was doing the poetry was shot on the South Side in Hyde Park, I believe. So are there any places like that even exist in Chicago where they're still doing spoken word? I know that was a big thing in like the early 2000s and mid 2000s. They still doing that? Do you know?
There's a few places.
So I think it's coming back, but it's more underground. There is a coffee shop on the north side that I did spoken word at, and they actually had it was a setup. It was an ode to Love Jones. It's called Normalized Therapy Cafe, black owned on the north side, and they are highly critical of like coffee and mental health and hip hop. Okay. So I think it's coming back. It's just we fortunately sometimes Chicago just is not the same for that.
Okay. Do you think they should do a remake of Love Jones, a 2024?
No, I do not.
Okay, good. Because they're remaking a lot of these movies, so
they need to leave that one alone. Yeah.
All right. So next is our entree, and so we got a whole list of questions for you, sweetie. So I hope you got your water close by because we're gonna be throwing the questions at you. Okay, you ready? Okay. All right. So I'm gonna kick off the first question. So your book is titled Thoughts. Do love the cover. There you go. And so what is the inspiration behind the title, I guess, and the design of your book? Because you have a simplistic design, but it does speak volumes. So where did all that come from?
I'm just so everyone can see.
No doubt.
Thoughts, it just really came from like all of these different like elements or a mood I was in or conversation I was having, just all of the things around. Sometimes I feel like, people as a human race, like we just treat love as like, okay, it's just a thing. Like, okay, I love you, whatever. All right, I'm with you out of obligation. But what I was trying to get at with the premise of the book is to talk about the highs and the lows of love. So, and then also just thinking about, what if you really had that moment or you felt like you met your soulmate and you were able to create a space and an escape and, to talk about all of the good things or how you desire to really be with someone and the chemistry and everything that kind of, I think sometimes goes unnoticed, especially if you get into the routine of being with your person, from day to day. But it's like, what about how do we keep it exciting? Like thinking about all the moments and the times that things were exciting for us. Mm-hmm. And so I wrote a book about it. I mean, before I knew it, I had all these different pieces and I was just like, well, I'm going to just call it Thoughts. And the design of it, I think simplicity speaks volume. So I didn't want a whole busy background. I just wanted to put it out. I didn't know what it was going to do. So we just went with it. We went with it. And I think the red heart, obviously it represents love, mm-hmm. And all of the things. And it's kind of like a cliffhanger. You see the title and you like, want to open it up and see what it's about.
All right, so we may have sequels. All right, that's what I'm talking about. Okay. So what was the journey to this? Because you talked about you sat down. So what was that journey from start to finish? Like, did you set aside time, during the day to do it? Like, what was that whole process? A lot of people think that you just sit down and it all comes to you in 1 hour you write
Okay.
everything. So yeah, what was that process like? And then the publishing process as well.
It was like a year in the making, you
Okay.
know, as I stated before, like kind of like, you know, watching I started like watching old love stories, the photograph, Love Jones, Sylvie's Love, Really Love. Like I started watching all of these like black love stories.
Did you watch What's Love Got to Do with it?
No, I did not.
Why you didn't watch it? You talking about the
love story.
She talked about the highs and the lows of love, but
She said love story.
We not.
That is a love story.
That wasn't quite the vibe.
I don't think that's what she meant when she said
I'm
love
just saying.
story.
I'm just saying.
Continue, please. Continue, please.
So, you know, and, you know, having different conversations with friends around, you know, some of the issues that they've gone through, some of the personal issues I went through. And it just became like a journey. So, like, over a year's time, I just jotted down all my thoughts or, like, in a note section on my phone. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I could be driving to work or driving on my way home, and I'll hear something, and I'll write to it. So that's kind of been like the writer's process. And then a friend of mine, he recommended a publishing company that I actually went with, and it just kind of took off from there. The publishing company, shout out to Writers Publishing House, they took care of everything. I came up with the design. She kind of tweaked it a little bit. They organized and formatted my book. It was definitely a really good experience, like learning the back scenes behind what does it take administratively to get your book off and running off the ground. I hired a social media content person because I do other things. I can't always keep up with social media. So we had some ideas on how to promote it, and I just went for it. I kind of like went head first.
Okay. With the publishing company that you use, did you ever have a moment where they critique maybe your writing, that you had to go through that whole editing process, or did they just take it for what it was, no editing, and just took it for full value? How was that?
So for me, luckily for me, my major in undergrad was journalism, so I edited my own book. Okay. So I was my own editor. But they do offer those services, like if you need an editor. But luckily for me, like I was laser focused in, even before I sent it over, I had to make sure everything was correct from start to finish. So it also felt good to take ownership of that too. Okay. And I know that's probably not everyone's, you know, forte to, you know, edit a book, but luckily for myself, I was able to do that.
Okay. So what's your favorite poem from the book?
I knew you was going to ask me that. Yeah. Y'all copy.
Yeah. So this is the thing. I actually have a couple of poems that kind of caught my attention, and Fresh Start was one of them. Fresh Start, it was Love Under the Moon, and it was Goodbye. Now, those are just three that just kind of came out to the forefront. So, of course, yes, what is your favorite?
I would have to say mine is kind of like towards the end of the book. It's on page 42. It's called Giving. Okay. That's my favorite.
Okay, well, so at the end of the show, we're going to have you recite that. So just keep that in mind. Yeah. All right. So, question. You refer to yourself in your bio that you are a lover of words. Kind of explain to the audience, what do you mean by that when you say metaphorically you are a lover of words? Does that is it simple? You just really a lover of words, or just because you know how to take these words and make love to them? Explain yourself.
Just it's simple. Just being a lover of words. Like I love creativity. I love the art expression of writing. I think like when you're able to put thoughts and you know, and meaning and messages like together and behind it, intertwine all of the things of the English language, I think it can make like beautiful pieces of art. And writing for me really is a form of therapy. It's my go-to. Everybody has their go-tos, you know, when they need to kind of like zone out, vibe out. For me, it is writing. I do believe there's a lot of power behind writing, and people can relate to it. It's power and vulnerability. So, you know, why not, you know, provide the world with your gifts. And I think this is one of my gifts.
So what writers inspired you?
Yeah, absolutely. My favorite era of history is like the Harlem Renaissance. So first poet that I was ever introduced to that I really liked a lot was Langston Hughes. And I just, I was really intrigued with the creativity of Black people during that time. Like, we were stepping out, we were getting into jazz, we were getting into poetry, we were getting into dance, all of the things that otherwise said we wouldn't be able to do. But some of my other poets that I like are Maya Angelou, Nikki Giovanni. Those are just to name a few of people that I, kind of like.
Yeah, Nikki Giovanni, that's my girl. I met her a couple times. I even hit on her. She was bad back in the day, boy. Let me tell you.
Did he really just say he hit on her?
She was bad back. She autographed my stuff and everything. Nikki was bad back in the day. Let me tell you. She's a Delta, right? Ain't she a Delta too?
She is a Delta.
Yeah. So I do have a question. Do any of the poems reflect your actual true love life?
Good question. Yes, some of them do. Some of them are actual factual things that I've gone through, in hindsight. So, there's a few pieces in there, people probably like, is this about me? Yes, this is in fact about you. But that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of the mystery, because nobody knows.
Nobody really knows.
It's just what I know.
Okay.
That's the beauty of like rap music, art, and all that. You don't know if this person is telling it in another character or is it autobiographical. You really don't know. So that's the beauty of it. That's why it's art. So I got a question when we talking about love and all this stuff. I just got a general question. Can you fall out and back into love?
I think so. I think it because life's right.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's possible to, fall in and out. But I think what's important is to mark it, talk about it, work through it. If that's something that you can do. You don't hear, unfortunately, you don't hear about those stories that often, where people are, remaining, in situations where they're fighting for each other. It could very well be sometimes a person is fighting alone, or, there's no changed behavior. Like, oh, we'll try this, but then, you fall back on this. So, I just think it's a multitude of things. But to answer your question, yes, I do think if you fall out, you can fall back in.
Okay.
What advice would you have to women on letting go, I guess, of the bullshit that comes with relationships? Like, what advice would you have for, women out here that's dealing with the bullshit in these relationships?
Or guys. Because I had a question. Was this book written for women?
Answer my question first.
I'm going to answer your question, Jimmy. I'm going to answer your question.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to understand your power and your substance and your value as a woman. Understanding, that men, we need to be a welcoming space for men, be a person's peace, but also understanding like where you sit on the throne and not overextending yourself to bullshit. Like, everybody gonna come with something, but what is it something that you're willing to be like, okay, I can manage this, I can work with this, but it's definitely important not to overextend. Like, if a man likes you, he gonna be intentional about calling you, he gonna be intentional about choosing you, and it won't have to get so complicated, and you won't find yourself compromising on your morals and values to be with someone. Now, to answer Jimmy's question, the book is obviously written from a female's perspective. Come on now. Like, you knew that.
Right.
You knew that.
Right.
So we're gonna have to get the fellas to come out with they thoughts from the men.
They need to, but they never will.
Huh?
They need to, but will they? What are guys that they want to express themselves?
They out there.
So if I can ask one question.
Finesse 2 times, he's expressing it for
Oh my God. So one question I do like to ask, because we always hear the stories about that. Is the dating scene out here right now, is it really that bad? Because I keep hearing from, males and female, that like dating in 2024 is like the worst because of social media, because of this. What is that true?
Yeah, no, I would have to agree. It's not that great. I think it's important. Like, I don't think that you're hearing the stories like you guys, for example. You guys been together for a very long time, and been through life and been through challenges and everything, and stayed together. Or the stories about my parents. Been through all whatever, and they've been together 55 years or 50 plus years.
55?
That's good.
Dang.
Congrats to them.
Congrats. Shout out. That's dope.
Congrats.
So I think what happens is that you're having it's a scene of like men now who are like, because the ratio between men and women, like it's more women than men, and you got guys like, I'm the prize. Like, I don't have to work as hard anymore.
Say it again. And guys that know that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But in a sense, though, it's kind of like somebody at some point, you got to come down off your high horse, life for what it is, and understand, like, if you of a certain age and you haven't experienced certain things, maybe you might not, like, if you're a guy, you don't have any kids, maybe you might not align with a woman that has kids.
Mm-hmm.
But then you might be the guy who might be with the chick that's 25 to 30. Like, maybe you might be getting your young girl on, but you might not be able to hang with that. You know what I mean? Like, somewhere down the line, somebody has to make a notable compromise to say, all right, I want to make this work with you. I want to welcome you into my space. How can, here's how we can align. And stop paying attention to the stuff on the internet, because those people on the internet are not living like real life. Like, they want to promote and put out things that make them seem okay, or like they got it like that, or like life is good. But these people behind the internet are struggling just like me.
Mm-hmm. We always say people only post the positive things, the good stuff on social media. You're not going to see people posting that 3 days out the week they were depressed or upset about something. You would never, they'll never post that type of stuff. So, like you say, social media is what people make it.
It's the Matrix. People are engaged in the show. So, and you can control the narrative and put whatever narrative that you have out there. So,
yeah. Maybe it might come back around, and people will see, find some people of substance, or maybe not. I don't know. It remains to be seen.
So that is a consistent answer of everybody who we talk to.
Man,
it is really that
so
bad.
Did social media, did any of that stuff like that you see on a constant basis about relationships? Did that serve as any inspiration for any poems, anything, any material?
No. Not at all.
Okay.
I think what makes my book special is the level of vulnerability I put into it.
Yeah.
Not just from myself, but again, just the experiences, not just of myself, but from other people too. People really do be going through things, and I had a few people like reach out to me like, man, I was right here. I felt that when you wrote that, like I was here before. Some of my male friends told me, like, man, I had to take a picture of this and send this to somebody.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's people. It's not fake. It's not. It's not something that fiction. I made up. Like, this is based on real life experiences.
Yeah.
So can I ask you something? Out of all the genres of writing you could have went, because you just brought up fiction, nonfiction, and things of that nature, why stick with poetry? I do believe that poetry is the most creative way of writing, but why poetry?
So I actually used to write when I was younger. When I was in high school, I used to write poems. Like, remember when Borders was a thing? Like, you could go get a book, and they used to have like live performances. I did that when I was in high school.
Okay.
I just thought it was so cool. Like, it started off writing. Started off like me trying to tell my parents, like, I'm mad at you. Here's why I'm mad at you. And because, like, that generation didn't talk to us. Like, they didn't want to talk.
Yeah.
And so it's like, they'll be like, what? Go to your room. Go outside. Go look at.
Yep.
And so I'm like.
It's still like that in some households.
Right. How can I get my point across to you? So I just started writing, and then one day I wrote my mom a poem for Mother's Day, and then I had gotten brave, and then it just really became like a thing. Like it just came so easily, and then my mother put me like in writers workshops. Like I went to Southern Illinois University for a writers workshop, a creative writing workshop. Then I went to Northern one summer when I was in high school, and it just really was a thing. Like it really kind of stayed. I have poetry published like from newspapers or things when I was like younger. My mama still got all that stuff. So it's just one of those things that I would maybe shelve, but it always came back. Okay. So I truly believe that it's my gift. It's my person. We all born with gifts, and I think it's just mine. So it's just kind of stuck.
Okay. So stuff that don't make it, you know, as an artist, you put out an album. Every song don't make the album. You got. So what happens with that stuff? I'm always curious. What happens with the stuff that don't, the poems that don't make it? Are you gonna put them in a part 2? Whatever happens with that stuff, you just keep it in the vault.
I think you got to keep them in the vault. Okay. Everything ain't gonna make it. Or you know, it might be in the next book, but it just really just depends on you know where I'm at, what I got going on, and how, you know how I'm feeling. Honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I have a question. I noticed that your book is on the Silver Room. So what's the connection with Silver Room, and why that platform or avenue to sell your book?
Well, honestly, I just, you know, I wanted to get my book in a local bookstore in Chicago, one being Black owned, and I think the Silver Room is just all things great. Like you walk in there, it's dope in there. Like they got Black art, you know, they got Black T-shirts. You know, it's like the essence of us. Like they're a part of the culture. So I just went in there one day, and I was like, you know, introduced myself and gave them a copy of the book, and it got to the manager. Shout out to the Silver Room and Megan and everybody at the Silver Room. It got to the manager, and they loved it. And they were like, it was around Valentine's Day, and they were like, oh my God, can you come here and do a book talk? Because it was like right on time. So we did the book talk there. I signed some books there, and it's in the Silver Room, and they are extremely nice. The team, everyone there, like they're like family. So
that's dope. That's dope. Yeah. Where are they located at? I know where they're at, but where are they located at for our viewers, so they know exactly where to go look at the Silver Room?
Hold on, let me.
Because I know they're in Hyde Park, right? Is it on 53rd?
Yes, that's on 53rd. Hang on one second. I'm going to get the correct address. 1506 East 53rd Street in Chicago, in the Hyde Park community. So
one thing I miss about them is that fest they used to do. Man, that fest was the one right before the pandemic was probably the dopest version that they had ever did. That was so dope. The Silver Room Fest, yes. I missed that.
Shout out to the Silver Room.
No doubt. Shout out to the Silver Room.
Now, so one last question. So what if you had to give like your 60-second elevator pitch to someone who's new to writing or who's aspiring to get something published, what would that be? What would that pitch be to that person?
Just don't stop writing. Whatever comes to your mind, write it down. If you're in an elevator, write it down. Figure out a way, because also when you're writing, when you're gifted, these words may not come back to you. So you have to write it out in the moment. Don't try to set up time like, oh, I'm going to write from 5 to 7. Let it be organic, and just get it out. I think that's the best form of poetry is, you know, just getting it out. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It's however you feel it. It's your art form.
Okay. I like that.
All right.
I like that. Before we have you recite a few poems, we want you to do our fair or foul with us.
So we get real with fair or foul now.
So with fair or foul, we throw out something, and if you like it, you say it's fair, and if you don't like it, you say it's foul. Okay? So pretty much just fair or foul. Okay, so first thing, using other folks' material when you write.
Foul.
Okay.
That's plagiarism.
Now you can't use and quote, cite.
No, you gotta cite that. You gotta cite that.
You gotta cite it, but don't do it. Be original.
That's what Cat Williams was talking about with niggas stealing his comedy.
Okay.
His line, yeah.
Next one. One night stands.
Foul.
Foul. Okay.
So it never crossed your mind?
Foul.
As far as writing a book, this is new now. I see people doing it, especially in higher ed where I work at, and you see students using AI to help you write your book.
Wow.
Okay. All right.
Okay. How about dating a guy between 25 and 30?
Like me at my age?
You dating a man? Okay. What about 30 to 35?
Wow.
Okay, 35 to 40.
What's this? The Price is Right?
It might be a little fair.
Somebody a dude may watch this and be like, "Oh, who is that? You know who is that? You know somebody that they may want to."
I'll give it a fair.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
Okay, I like that. So, thank you for participating. We're gonna keep it light with you, okay? we ain't gonna go too dirty with you. But,
y'all keeping it real light. You can ask me one more.
Do you believe in polyamory? Would you go to a nudist resort?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, good.
So your favorite poem? I like the one "Smile." I like that one. That was a cool one. I like
you pick the poem you wanna.
I like that one.
You want to recite for us.
But
before I do have one thing. Before you recite your poem, I do want to give you a few seconds, a few minutes, if you can, to just tell the audience anything about you that we may not have asked yet, or you may not have gotten the opportunity to say, that will bring people just to your hemisphere and bring people in your light and your box. And just, this is kind of your time to kind of, shine.
And your social media handle too, where they can get the book and all that stuff.
Yeah. One thing that I did do, and it's on a website. My website is awrittendream.com. So written dream DREAM.com. On the website, I created a playlist that goes along with the book.
Okay.
I'm a lover of music.
Okay.
I love music, and so organically, like how the book was coming together, a playlist was coming together. And so I think it's dope. At the book signing, people were like, man, this is giving real Love Jones vibes. Like, it's easy to listen to, start to finish. It's on my website. My Instagram handle is a written dream. So that's the same. And anything else that I did not mention? Well, I'm working on book number 2, so I'll be happy to do this again with you guys when it drops. It should come out sometime this year. So
okay, that's dope. That's dope.
Any more events for thoughts?
Yeah, are you gonna be doing any live events?
So, I do have like a private event. I can't really share the details. Okay. That's taking place next week. But I'll put out more information after the event. But it's like a closed event. But one thing that I do want to do, and maybe some viewers can assist, but invite me to your city, your town. Like, I'm willing to come. You have a bookstore in your town. Maybe we can do a book talk. Maybe we get the book in the store. So, like, I have aspirations to maybe, go out.
We have to do that. Bring you to Tiny's Coffee Shop out here in Midland.
Yeah, we actually do have a few
There's some nice places, yeah. Dialogue Wine Bar be great.
Yeah, definitely Dialogue Wine Bar.
And that's owned by Deltas.
Yep. And it's owned by a Black-owned company. They have a cigar bar right next to it. So it's definitely something worth approaching.
Yeah, we'll see, yeah.
Well, invite me out. I can come, willing to travel, because I think, more importantly, I appreciate this platform, you all inviting me out, because my goal for this year, for the first 6 months, was expanding the reach of the book. So I have my circle, but there's so many different audiences out here that can reach, and want to support. Also, the book is also on Amazon. So Thoughts by Jennifer Ollie. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it on my site. I'm findable.
That's what I'm talking about.
And if there's anything specific, definitely text it to Jim. The D.O.C. Text it, so then I can also include it when I post everything about this episode and create the different reels and things like that. I can also post your information about your book and so forth. So.
All right.
At this time, we would like you to at least recite one of your poems before we get out of here.
Oh, you guys put me on the spot.
Oh yeah.
We'll say I'm a really good writer. I'm working on my being a better orator. So we're gonna give it our best shot.
Okay.
So, this poem is called Giving. It's one of my favorites. And we can talk about why if we need to, but here we go. I want to have everlasting days with you. Laughs that don't end. The ability to see each other's flaws and provide grace from within. I want to fully trust you and fall deeply in love with my head held back, free from worry and doubt. Without hesitation, I want us to be aligned, but not forced. I want you to wake up every day and choose me by choice. Honest and accepting of our true selves, because this is me in the flesh, take it or not. Never mind how life brought us together, because it feels like we can't live apart. I want you to look me in my eyes and see your heart. A safe space, a nurturing place. Take a walk with me, because I want to give you all that I've got. That's it.
All right.
All right.
You don't clap.
That was dope. That was
You don't
dope. That
clap.
was dope. That was
I like how
nice.
you say "wake up next to me by choice." Like
Yeah.
I love that line right there.
That's dope because there's a lot of people that are with people
That are not by choice. They wake up every day like, God damn.
But not only that, I think it's important, for women out here to hear that message because, again, like, you want to be aligned but not forced. You want somebody to choose you every day, by choice. A person chooses to be with you. It's not you trying to overcompensate so a person can be in your space. You are who you are. So take it or leave it. So, yeah.
I say, my saying is, some people may not agree with this. I say women choose and men claim. Women choose, and because women has to choose you.
I think a man has to choose you.
And then he claims you.
That is so true. And I think people don't understand that. I think it is because women can be madly in love with a man who won't have any, like you see a lot of that sometimes where you have that. I think men have to choose to be with you, choose to be in love with you.
I think the woman
It's not going to work. No, it's not going to work.
The woman chooses.
She may chooses like as in choose
like,
the man,
I want
but
you to be my man. I want
the man has to choose her back. He has to.
But something has to click in the elevator up here for the man to be like, that's the one for me.
And that's claiming. That's not true.
It's choosing and claiming.
Yeah.
It take y'all a minute to get there because we all back know if we like somebody or not.
You know that from the moment you see that nigga, if you like him or not.
Like, I might like him, but for the guy, it's like you gotta go through some things to really figure that out. Like, I'm about to sign up. But it's like,
and that's what I'm saying. He claimed it. That's okay. That's cool. Well, this has been good. Good. I really appreciate you for taking time out, your time today to join us on the Lust podcast and share this experiences with us. And hopefully, we bring you back on, and they can do a part 2 to thoughts and all that good stuff like that.
Y'all got a good thing going. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
All right.
That.
So with that being said, we out of here.
Yes.
Right.
Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good night.